You're welcome to Insight Today. On Insight Today, we'll be looking at a particular story. A certain woman who was battered by her alleged husband for putting on what people would call a singlet to pick up her child from school. It was posted on a video appealing, she posted it on a video appealing to Nigerians not to say hurtful things about her husband. In this particular story, the man actually battered his wife because of what she wore to the school of her child. Unfortunately, this incident has caused a lot of stir on social media. A lot of people have abused the husband, and then she comes back to appeal to Nigerians not to say things that will hurt her or her marriage, that her husband loves her dearly. And on this particular video, she comes out with a battered eye, saying, please, she loves her marriage. Everyone should stay clear. What will you make of this story? What can you say? You're welcome to Insight Today. I am Jumai Manson. Don't go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Back, and if you're just tuning in, it's Insight Today on Global Television. Today we're going to be looking at domestic violence and how to survive domestic violence in the home front. Now we're going to take a, before we go and look at the video, I'm being joined by my colleague, another person than Queen Agapa. How are you doing today, Queen?
I'm very well. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm excited to want to give my contributions as regards this topic.
Domestic violence, right? All right, let's take a quick look at the video and see what it's all about. Look at the battered eye and the words from this woman. Stay tuned.
Life has deflected drastically for less than what you saw in the initial video. And finally, I thank everyone who actually showed concern and interest and well-being of women, and for me also. I actually thank everyone for the good and your comment and everything. I must testify that I have not regretted marrying my husband, Mr. Levinus. And he has not, he never wanted to harm me. And I also don't want any harm.
All right, you're welcome back from that video. Of course, like I mentioned, it's a very sad video there. You might say, oh, this woman wants peace to reign. Her husband has appealed to her. The husband has begged her after giving, as in battering her in that sort of manner. And someone might say, this is the only way to secure her home, because there's no other place than home and securing your marriage due to, you know, so many accusations that she says she's at fault. She has accepted the blame and all of that. Queen, what can you say to that video which you have seen right now?
Well, there are not many sides to this video. It's only one side for me, and it's the part where she was beaten. And that says it all. And for her to have come out on social media, it means that she has never come out on social media to talk about her husband before, talk about you know, any of those things. But she's come out this time around to say that, you know, she has been abused by her husband and, you know, beaten in that manner. We could, if you look closely at her, you see how much she has even healed a bit in this video. The previous video, we still had blood clots on her eyes. Her face was swollen, and you know, she was beaten. Even a thief has not been beaten in that manner. How much more somebody you call a husband beating you? And what's the reason? Because you went out to go and pick your children or your child in a singlet. We didn't see pictures of that singlet, but on no account should a man beat a woman like that. And now she has come out. That's the thing with people who are in abusive relationship. We understand. But the sad thing is that the moment you decided to come out and say that, look, with picture evidences that your husband, video evidences as well, that your husband battered you. He didn't just beat you, he battered you in that manner. It shows that you are in an abusive relationship. And
Yes,
it's
you
now our business. You cannot now go back, because even in this video, it looks doctored and it looks like she was put under duress to make that apology.
Scripted.
Yes, and there was somebody behind her, telling her that, everything is fine. You could hear whispers from that man, I assume is the husband that beat her. And she was looking, even with the eyes, still with that swollen eyes, trying to look at the papers to say that they're in good conditions and she loves her husband. Of course, abusers always love their victims always love their abusers, and they will do anything to, protect their marriage, protect their but the thing is, for a man to beat you up to that extent, he had beaten you to the point where you were almost going to die. And if you die, the reasons why people in abusive relationships stay in that marriage is because they've had 1 or 2 kids, they've had children for this man, and they're wondering, what becomes of me if I leave this marriage now? Have you also wondered what becomes of you or your children or your family if you die in that marriage? Second reason why people who are in abusive relationship refuse to leave that relationship is because they are not financially stable. I think that should be the major reason, because you don't have anything going for yourself. But there are few exceptions where we've seen women who are doing well, beautifully well. They have their lives together, they have their careers, they have, they're doing well, they have businesses and they're thriving, they're financially stable. But because they want to remain in that status of, I am a married woman or happily married woman, and so they don't want to embarrass themselves by coming out to say they're in abusive relationship. You don't have to come out to say that you are in an abusive relationship. You can opt out regardless of what people can say. You can opt for a divorce regardless of what people would say, and then you leave that marriage. But this lady's scenario now is different, because she came out to say that she was beaten in this manner, and now she's coming out, I beg your pardon, to say that bloggers should not interfere. People, organizations, and NGOs should not interfere. They should leave her. She's in a loving relationship with her husband, and her husband did not intentionally beat her to a pulp.
That she caused it.
That she caused it. Yes, it's always the blame, the taking the blame for me that is the painful part. It's always the taking the blame. And now, if you look at it critically, it's not just, of course, if you're in an abusive relationship, you're also in a manipulative relationship. It's obvious that she's being manipulated by her husband.
But let me just come in here, Queen. Looking at how she read out that script, because for me it was scripted. I know she says we shouldn't interfere, but this should. This is like it's an example for others to learn. There's so many individuals in this sort of relationship, whether marriage, whether courtship, they have abusers who are present in their lives. Now, looking at this critically, I could sense fear, despite the fact that she said, please, bloggers, don't come for her loving husband. He has taken her to one of the best hospitals in Warri and all of that. I could sense fear. I could sense duress. I could sense all of these things. Despite she was talking and all of that, I feel if truly the man is remorseful and this is the first time he has laid his hands on you, you will say it from your heart. You don't need a script. If you're saying, if it's something that you really mean and you feel bad that it even got to that point, because the truth is, what must have made that instant? Was it so much that it got to that point that she almost lost an eye? Look at her hairdo. You know that this woman has been going through not just physical abuse, but psychological abuse. And number two, the guy looks older than her by far. He looks as if this is a young girl that was just groomed, that was groomed by her parents to actually, or someone else, pardon me, by him to marry her. For him to marry her. Now, unfortunately, so many people are in this kind of relationship. It could be marriage, it could be courtship. They find themselves because, hey, one, they have nowhere to go. Two, the pressure of family. Don't you leave. Our mother stayed. That's the thing. And of course, the stigma attached to it. Some will stay in an abusive relationship because age is telling on them. The victims are mostly the women. Some men in some cases, but mostly 80% are women. Because the man will have the audacity to beat her as a punching bag. Some is just because of the some men will come in because it's transfer of aggression. The woman says something, he's angered out there, and he comes in and he puts all the hurt and pain on the woman. It's just unfortunate that most women are in this sort of relationship. Some mothers are going through a lot.
And these sorts of men cannot even face their
no, they cannot.
Outside, it's always the women that they lay their hands on. And I think that we should also emphasize that women, there's more to you than a man. I would always advocate that marriage is honorable, marriage is beautiful.
Oh,
it's
yes,
a beautiful
it is.
thing, it's a beautiful establishment. But what happens if this marriage is eating you up? Is eating up your self-esteem, your self-worth, is reducing you to nothing? Let's take, for instance, not to digress, but we're still talking about these things. Sometimes it could be psychological abuse, not physical abuse. And people have often attributed, psychological abuse to be more than physical abuse, to be worse than physical abuse. Take for instance the Annie Dibia and Two Faces story. Some people have come to say that Annie married early, Two Face groomed her to be the woman she is now, dependent on him. He groomed her to be dependent, and that she doesn't have a life outside of whatever that those sides or talks about her is. But from what we can see from the stories we've heard, from the videos that have come out time and time again, we can see that Annie built her life around her marriage. Because multiple times, this man has humiliated her, abused her, insulted her, talked about how it is normal for a man to want to sleep with a woman without having any interest in that woman, right in the presence of Annie.
Be intimate.
Yes, to be intimate. It's normal. He calls it normal, that as a man, it is normal for it, which is not true. I mean, you have your wife there, you have your wife present, and you make such a statement. It's not like you're making a statement in the presence of your male friends, but in the presence of your guys. I think that's really it's really wrong, it's really humiliating, and that could count for psychological abuse as well. Nobody deserves to be abused psychologically in that manner, and so when you find yourself in such situations, what do you begin to do? You begin to take initiatives to take care of yourself, take care of your life, take care of your business, build things around your business, your life, fashion, do things you love. It's okay. If you're in a marriage and it's not working, it's okay to take a break. Go on vacations, go and hang around family. You have friends. Stay with people who would motivate you, who would encourage you. But when you have built your life around your husband, then it's going to be difficult even when he abuses you, and you don't even see it. You can't tell because you are solely dependent on that person.
I just want to add to what you've said, Queen. This is a very emotional topic, because a lot of women go through these things. Now, looking at it very critically, for women, please do not lose yourself when you're married. Do not lose yourself when you are in courtship with the man that is going to make you his wife. I've always said a man that loves you genuinely will support you, will build you up to a standard that some men just prefer, they are the ones that are getting educated, and the woman is just there because she's married, she'll just give birth to children. And please do not lose yourself in marriage. Don't ever be a shadow of yourself. It doesn't matter. For as much as I respect the institution of marriage, it's something that I love. I'm a family person. I respect the institution. But at the same time, if you're married to a man who has insecurities and you are fine with that, when he says, okay, for instance, you're a banker, I don't want you to work in the bank anymore. Don't lose yourself by just being a stay-home mom. There are other things that you can do. Find yourself, go into business. Find yourself, increase yourself when it comes to education. Don't just sit down and lose yourself. You see some women, they are home because they are frustrated. They are used to going out. And then because the man just tells you this, and you love him dearly, you do not want to offend him and all of that, you decide to just stay at home and you just wallow in that whatever space you find yourself, just giving birth, you can do all of that, and at the same time, please do not lose yourself in the process. And for women who build their whole lives on a man, terrible mistake. I know I'm going to get a man to actually come and talk more on this matter, but the truth is, find yourself. There's something, you are much more than what you think you are. The strength in which you have so much strength in you. And please do not, you said living your life for a man, which I don't know, it works for some, but believe me, I don't think that is the way. As a woman,
not
you
worth it at
must.
the end.
It's not. It's really. It's not, because he's human at the long run, and at the long run, he'll either raise his hands on you, or divorce or separation
And just
comes
to add
in.
to what you said, when you talked about building yourself and, just not just staying laid back. If you are married to a man who is a go-getter, who is up there, in that ladder of society, who is maybe respected, highly known, popular, or whatever, you want to do your bit to step up to his level as well. So
Exactly.
you want to go for courses. You know that your husband meets high profile individuals. He's always traveling. He's always having executive meetings and all of that. The best thing you can do for yourself is not to be at home and bear children. If that works, fine. But you can also empower yourself in the little
Develop.
way that you can. Develop yourself, so that you can meet him up there and have those kind of conversations. You don't necessarily have to also be traveling the world.
No,
But
no.
if it's passion for you, you can do that. And if it works for both of you,
Creating a balance,
yes,
though.
create that balance. But the little things that you can do is ensuring that you learn new things, you look out for things that can also help him, so that he knows that you're contributing positively. I heard Two-Face say, I'm going to circle back to what Two-Face said again. I'm not entirely blaming Annie. I'm not even blaming her at all, because for him, it just shows that he lacks emotional intelligence, because it was alleged that she's in a rehab, and then he puts out this statement of their divorce out. I don't know how you expect her to react to that. That's your reasons could have been valid for wanting a divorce, but the right time and the right place matters a lot. But he mentioned something, that he wants a woman who motivates and inspires him. He wants that kind of woman. So from that statement he made, we can deduce that perhaps, and we have also seen cases where people talk about, Annie, people see her, she's come up in the news once or twice in the year or last year. We just see her come up in the news, and what's it about? She's looking unkept, she's looking depressed, she's looking tired, she's looking, I don't know what it is she must have been going through in the marriage, or maybe it's outside the marriage. It cannot entirely be in the marriage, but it just shows that she's not inspiring. Maybe she's not putting in effort in her business.
But she's
not
an
putting
amazing actress.
She's an amazing actress, but we barely see her in movies. She has a series, quite frankly.
You see, I want to just add something. See, that's what sometimes I always tell people: marriage can actually make or break you. Like I know let's not digress to Annie Dibia, because that's not the case study here. We're talking about violence, because of course psychologically of course that's an abuse going on right there. But the other one we're talking about is the physical abuse. Now, for me, Annie was doing wonderfully well when she decided, even when she was married to the iconic Two-Face Dibia, she was an amazing actress. We saw some of the movies in which she was she featured in, and all of that. But at the long run, she just became a shadow of herself, going up and down with her husband, being in his spots, and all of that. For as much
That's
as
the thing that happens when you lose yourself.
when you lose yourself, really, why? Let him. He's a musician. Oh, fine and good. I'm happy for you.
I'm an
But
actor.
I'm an actor myself. I make the best of that. At least, please, lots of women, we have a lot to learn when it comes to this balance of everything. When it comes to, as a mother, we have as a mother, as a wife, we have a role to play. And finding yourself is very, very important. You should, because if you do not contribute anything in the home front, there's nothing that is so spectacular about you. So at least you don't have to be a business business mogul, or someone that works a white collar job to add that impact. You as the way you portray yourself, like I said, education, there's so many things that you can do, trainings, education, workshops. There's so many things you can do to better your life. Sometimes you just need you to find out that you have that strength inside of you. All right, now we're going to go on a very short break, and when we come back, we're just going to wrap up the program Inside Today. Do not go anywhere. This program continues shortly. Right, Queen?
Yeah, shortly. Please stay with us.
That human angle topic on family, marriage, peer pressure, drug and substance abuse, societal issues, women and children, and so much more. Now, it's crucial to approach these subjects with empathy and understanding. These issues often intertwine with societal norms and can lead to tough conversations. It is important to create a safe space for dialogue where individuals can share their experiences without fear or judgment. I am Jumai Manson. Join me every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the program Inside Today on Global Television.
All right, you're welcome back from that very quick break. And like I said, Queen and I are just sharing our opinion when it comes to domestic violence, whether in marriage, courtship, relationship, whatever you find yourself. And of course, Wednesday, justice will be done concerning this particular topic, which is, it's very dicey. So of course, we will be having a professional here by Wednesday to talk deep on this particular matter. It's not going away really soon. All right, for each and every one of you out there, it's a balance. Whether the male or the female folk are suffering from domestic abuse, it's versa vis. Some men go through this by their wives, and some women to also go through this by their husbands.
But it's rare. I remember having an argument with somebody who says, we talk about the women, we talk about abuse, the women facing abuse, and all. How about the men?
The men go through it a lot. When the woman is abusive psychologically, it takes a toll on him.
Domestic abuse, I mean,
haven't you seen some women that actually
very tiny.
Exactly, but haven't you seen some women that actually beat up their husbands?
I haven't.
You haven't. It's there. There's a women that sit on their husbands and beat them up and slap them. I have seen some. But at the same time, I think marriage, relationship, courtship is all about mutual respect. I respect you, you respect me. You have to be man enough to walk away when the atmosphere is tensed. And you have to be woman enough to understand that respect is mutual, so you would not step your boundaries. It's very important you know that. All right, now please remember, it's a case of balance. Please, let's be respectful to one another. Psychological, physical, emotional abuse, it's real. It can lead to mental imbalance. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program. And thank you, Queen Agaba.
It's an absolute pleasure. I'll do this over and over again.
Oh, I like that. And of course, I am Jumai Manson. Have an amazing day ahead. Let's say bye-bye together.
Bye-bye.
That human angle topic on family, marriage, peer pressure, drug and substance abuse, societal issues, women and children, and so much more. Now, it's crucial to approach these subjects with empathy and understanding. These issues often intertwine with societal norms and can lead to tough conversations. It is important to create a safe space for dialogue where individuals can share their experiences without fear or judgment. I am Jumai Manson. Join me every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on the program Inside Today on Global Television.